So now that I've gone through, I've got all my fonts here, I'm starting to see a really nice thing coming together and starting to coalesce here. I may use the different typefaces in between, but being the very quiet, non-dramatic person that I am, no, hardly. I like drama. So we go ahead and put, a lot of drama in here with a really thick in the thins here. We can keep it so it's all the same weight, and we can just vary the size and the tint as well, which could definitely work. In fact, I'm just going to try that up here so we can see kind of how this works. So with this, I could go in and I could do this as bold here, and with something like this, even if I went with, I'm actually going to go with black. So this is what, bold, and that's black. I'm going to go ultra here, a lot thicker because I keep forgetting to do, there we go. So now what I want to do is I want to show you what it looks like when I have the same weight, but I go in and I simply tint things differently to create a different emphasis on what I'm doing. And so I'm going to select my 59% eyedropper tool, and I may go with my lighter blue, take my type tool here, click on consumed on weekends or weekdays, eyedropper tool, and I may do my darker one right there. So now I get a very different feel from my type here. Even though it's the same typeface, I get a very different style and feel from my type. Let me try the darker red here, and I'm going to try the lighter red here, like so. Okay, but this is going to become the ultra as well. Cool. So there I've got this. I've got the lighter and the darker. I've got the darker and the lighter going on here. And this is all keeping the same visual weight. This may be a little bit too light, I think. I want to go back in and I want to grab just the medium original color. Okay, that works. As opposed to something like this. Now, this is going to be far more dramatic. This is going to be less dramatic, but it's going to be more color-coded. And depending on what type of graphics I'm putting in here, infographics I'm putting in, or icons, and depending on what those are going to look like, this may blend into the background because I may use a lighter color of one of these with a bar behind it. This could be on white to give more impact here, but I want to try that. So same amount of information, but just portrayed in a very different way, and I get very different feels about this. This is a little bit more continuous, this is a little bit more dramatic, but still, I think I can use this. I think I can definitely work my way through this all. So of course I keep running out of room, so I keep making my pasteboard much larger because we need more room for our copy. So I'm going to do a little bit more copy here because these I've kind of done in blocks right here. I may want to go in and do some type of list or a little bit of story here. So now I've got what the average cost for a family space, a grocery bill per month. Okay, so there I have it. I'm just going to take my eyedropper tool, I'm going to sample this. And I kind of like the all caps, even though putting things in all caps isn't the best. I'm going to see how this looks. So average cost for a family of 3, can't spell either, grocery bill, average cost for a family of 3. I like to split this up as if you're actually going to talk. Grocery bill per month. Okay, so there's a story that we can tell with using text. So the important thing is a family of 3 and how much per month. So I'm going to increase the size of the money right there, and I'm going to bump it up so letting wise is going to tuck right in there. And the family of 3 is really important too. So I don't know if I'm going to go in and change the size of each line. Actually, I'm going to take the per month out of there, and the reason why is because I don't think I need it in there. I'm going to put it over here and kind of make it a small little footnote to the copy right there. Okay. So now I have this. So this is the important part right here, family of 3. So that's probably going to be very large or very heavyweight right there. Maybe a little too heavy. Bold, ultra, black. Black, that works, okay? And then of course the price right here. I don't know if I want to use the dollar sign. Keep the dollar sign there. I may just go in and take that dollar sign out. And that may be my little infographic thing that's going to call that up. So this is per month. So here's my little nugget of information. So maybe I put the word grocery bill up here. Average cost, family of 3. Actually, I'm going to take out grocery bill because I'm going to use that as a header instead. So average cost for a family of 3. And there's my price. Okay, there it is. And per month. Per month needs to be kind of small and tucked in there. And I can have some fun with this. You know, maybe it just runs underneath like this so that I don't really notice it. Maybe turn it up on its side there, something like that. I think I'm just going to turn it up on its side like that. And of course, I need to go in and I need to rotate my type because one of the things I have here, double click to convert to point type. Yeah. So Illustrator has changed how they have done their type here. And if you haven't noticed here, one of the things we run into. So just a quick little run through of what Illustrator has done in the way of type. If I take my type tool and I simply click someplace and I type, what happens is I get what's called point type, which means if I keep typing, it'll type continuously all the way off the edge of the page until the end of time. And as I do that, it just keeps going and going and going and going and going. I have to put in a paragraph return if I want things to break. Now, you'll notice that I went in and I tried to rotate my type here. My type will rotate if I use point type, which means I click on a point and I begin to type. Then when I go in and I rotate, that's going to all rotate with it. When I pull the entire container, that will also stretch the type as well. Now, the one thing that I don't like about that is that you can stretch the type, and if I do have a lot of information here, and I decide to go and make a paragraph here, and I would like to revamp that paragraph, by changing the size of the container, I would just like to make it smaller to make it rewrap. It doesn't. It actually changes the size of the type. So little did you know, we could always change paragraph type to point type and point type to paragraph type. Paragraph type is this. I actually clicked and dragged and create a container with my type tool. And when I did that, I went ahead and I was able to get a container of which I was then going to put the type in. When I have a paragraph container like this, and I close it up here, it goes going to go ahead, I guess I didn't do that. So type tool, draw a paragraph here. If I go ahead and I type in here in a paragraph container, now when I close up my container here, you'll see that it doesn't stretch, it just simply reflows. That's the difference between paragraph type and point type. Point type, you click on that point, you type from there. Any line breaks you have to put in, any change of the size of the overall shape stretches and skews the type. If I have a container that is either a point type container or a paragraph type container, the one thing that tells me which is which is this handle that sticks out the right hand side. When it is a clear little point, that means I have point type. When I have paragraph type, it is filled with blue. Okay? If I want to convert point type to paragraph type, meaning I can then change the size of the container without it stretching and skewing the copy, I simply click on that little handle, I get my little type symbol with an arrow, and it says double click to convert to area type. I double click, and now if I have area type or paragraph type, now it will then cause it to reflow. If I take paragraph type and I double click, it becomes point type, and I change it, and it skews everything. So a couple different things. Paragraph type, if I rotate the container, see what it does? Okay, now it's kind of cool, but it's like, okay, really? So how you get by with that is you convert that to obviously point type, double click on there, convert it to point type, and then when you rotate there, then you don't have the issue with it going and rotating or staying inside, fixed as the container then rotates, which is what I had to do here. I had clicked and dragged and created a container, and now I went in and I decided to just go ahead and make that. So we've got that. Okay, so if I'm doing the average cost of groceries here, and this is a nice little nugget of information right there, creating a nice little infographic. Let's see, I'm gonna do groceries. And so I did have my dollar sign right here that can kind of work. And I also created a little grocery bag as well. And you know, I wanna keep the same look and feel of everything here. So I'm gonna have the thick and I'm gonna have the thin, which is kind of gonna determine the spacing of my objects on my infographics and the quality of it as well. So if I have my little shopping bag right here, which I kind of made, I just rounded the whole thing. I've got shopping bags right there, and I want to go in, and what I want to do is I want to specifically show the difference between a family of 3, 4, 5, and 6 with the cost, not only the cost here, but visually the change in cost as we go. So one thing that I may be able to do, I'm just going to pull this over here. I could just create a grocery bag like this. Have that. That's one thing that I can do. I'd also created a family right over here, which I'm going to copy and I'm going to drag over as well. And that may be useful in here for the number of people in the family. I'm not quite sure, but I'm just doing things that are visually going to tell kind of a cool story. So average cost for a family of 3. Does the girl go away or does the boy go away? Who knows? Okay. So there it is. Average cost for a family of 3 is going to be this much. Now, I can do this visually and show a family of 3, show a family of 4, show a family of 5, and I could also show groceries as well, grocery bags on this too, and I can show dollar signs, but I think I've already got the idea here. I may want to create some type of chart that goes along with this as well, not only telling the story here, but basically showing the difference between a family of 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I may just use my grocery bag as kind of like a chart to show things coming out of it, or show the length of a shopping bag or something like that, to show the difference between a family of 3, 4, 5, and 6 and showing the increase of dollars. I don't want to just stack dollar bills on top of each other. I don't want to stack, you know, multiple things here. I could do some type of fun little graphic that's then going to incorporate this stuff all together. Not quite sure of what that's going to be, but I'm starting to see some cool stuff happening here as I begin to put this stuff together. This is kind of creating a nice little tasty morsel of an infographic. And because these are all going to be part of one group of the infographic, these may all be the same color. So I want kind of a personal color, you know, green may work, kind of friendly, like that. Nah, you know. Blue can work. Let's do red. Red's a really warm color right there. So family of 5, okay, that could work. Alrighty. Family of 3, and I may change the color of this because my graphic representation of whatever chart, ramp, circular, square, triangular, whatever graphical interpretation may correspond to the number of people in here, may correspond to the color of the people. So guess what? That's what I'm gonna do. Awesome, okay? Number of people is gonna correspond to the number right in here. The green right here, well, guess what? I think I'm going to make that green. Just because green is money. All right, that can work. Not sure what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to kind of move those out there, but I'm definitely seeing some nice type of grid structure thing coming together with this here. Have no idea how it's going to come together in the end, but I'm starting to get a good feel of other things that are working together here and seeing how I can throw in some icons that I've made. And if anybody wants to chime in from the chat room on stuff that they want to see, I'm totally open to this, because like I said when we started this whole thing, this idea came to me at 6 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter when it comes to you, but I just did a lot of research for a couple hours and I just wrote all this stuff down, and it's like, yeah, fun stuff in a supermarket, but it doesn't need to be boring. And so I want to make this not boring. So visually the type is going to help, the color is going to help, the placement too. But I mean, just look at this. I mean, we haven't even done any visual representation of distance, size, values going on through here. So color is starting to work, weights are starting to work, shapes are starting to work as well. Yeah, so if anybody has any input, you just let me know. Okay, I think this needs to be a color as well, and since we're using the other colors there, ooh, that's too pink. Too pink. Maybe that will work. Well, that could work just fine. Do the same thing for per month, and that's going to be the same thing with that dark brown as well. I don't want it black. You know, we can use black everywhere. Why do we need to use more black? Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm liking that. I think visually the weight is working well with that. I'm probably going to do this to another set of information here. Don't quite know how the dollar sign and the shopping bag, if both, one, neither, are going to come into play. I think the dollar sign is going to come into play here, but I'm just not sure how it's going to do that. We may need to go in and actually put the dollar sign in front of that and go in and reduce the size of that so it becomes more of a block, like so, so that we get the impact of just how much money is spent every month on groceries. Don't know if I like the per month off to the side there, or we basically put it in someplace here and park it. Who knows? Something like that. Don't know. We'll figure it out. For now, that works.
So KK Picks
came
up with a great idea.
Awesome.
You could use like a grocery cart.
Sure. Like this grocery cart that I started over here?
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Awesome.
With more carts as the family size grows.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And more food, and yeah. And you could also go in and as a visual here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to think of some visual kind of chart graphic beyond this, and maybe we don't need a chart or graphic showing you, because I think we've got the perfect one for butter. And I've got the, ones for butter here because, I mean, cost of butter over time, oh, this is great. Because we can use blocks of stuff and bars, and we can show you visual representation of time and stuff like that. And of course, we could use yellow, but we're not going to do it just in like blocks. I'm going to show you how to do this so we can actually like segment the line over time, which would be really cool. And we're actually going to do it as a curve, so we can put the dates up here and put the curve over. Yeah. Awesome. So let's grab the shopping cart that I had started to work with right here, and I started to do a shopping cart, and I don't think I need this little handle. Because like I talked about before, see when we do a stroke here, and I do the angle, see how the butt end of it is at an angle as well, and that kind of doesn't work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the handle right there, and I think this handle is just going to go and connect right to the line right there. I'm going to keep it kind of square and beefy. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that when I do this shopping cart, group it together here, and I do this shopping cart, I want to make sure that I get the line weight so that it actually fits. I don't want something in between my line weight here. Do I want it beefy or do I want it really light? Really light isn't going to work. So I'm going to try, and I'm going to see when I go in and I really thicken up the weight of the cart to kind of match the thickest style of my type. I'm going to round the end of the cart here just to kind of soften that a bit, and also go in and put the little wheels on. For those of you that are British, little trolley wheels. So we create the trolley right there. There's our little trolley right there. I like it a shopping cart. Yes, I think this actually needs to, the handle needs to come up here. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so there's my little shopping cart. And clearly it's way too impactful according to everything else. So with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything here, and I may just do a light blue. There it is. I'm going to swap out the stroke for the fill. I think we had a 15 point, now it's more like a 25 point stroke on there to get kind of that beefy weight right there. Stroke, round the end. Okay, that could work as a nice little infographic for a shopping cart. Yep. So with her idea with a shopping cart, I like that. So how would you represent that over time? So we represent different portions of the shopping cart, because we want to show the difference in money. here. We have that impact there. We've got this. I'm just curious how we're going to go ahead and we're going to show the difference in money with a cost a family of 3, 4, and 5. And you know what? Instead of talking about it, let's just figure it out. I'm going to move this up here, grab my little shopping cart. I'm going to group that together so I don't have to keep selecting all the items. Group. There it is. And now I'm going to take this same information and I'm going to drop it down here. And of course, we're going to do a family of 4. I'm going to copy the girl over, bring her in, use my smart guides to line her up right there. Again, choose this, family of 4 right there. Type, change that to 4. And how much did we say for a family of 4? $639.78. Okay. $639.78. This is a little bit bigger and goes beyond the end there, so I'm actually going to just do a little bit of kerning here, bring that way in. And I may have to just reduce the size ever so slightly to kind of bring that in. So there's my family of 4, there's my family of 3. And, oh wow, this is looking really nice and infographic-y, isn't it? I can do it! I can't believe it! I've practiced for so many years. Once you get under the pressure here, then we can finally go through the whole thing and do it as well. So I like this. I still like the shopping cart idea. You know, maybe we don't use the family. Maybe we just use 4 shopping carts, 3 shopping carts, things like that. Or maybe we have some fun. Well, no, actually, I like to have fun. Because one of the statistics here is the number of kids that fall out of shopping carts there. So let's put a kid in the shopping cart. Yes? Perfect. I like that. Great idea. Okay, so I'm going to just put a little head right in here. Boom. And select that. And then, of course, a great way to do a body, of course, is just take the same circle right there, chop it in half, just take the bottom right off. Boom. Close that up. And I want to use the same kind of spacing, so I'm going to group this. And I want to use the same kind of spacing, like kind of the weight of my line here that I have between the object, or since I have this spacing already established between here, I may keep this same visual spacing between here and between the cart. Okay, so there's a little kid in the cart right there. I like, because now when we do the shopping cart accident, we can just have the kid come right out. So I'm liking that, you know? And yeah, so family of 4. So what do? Do we just extend the shopping cart and put people in there? Who knows? Let's try it. Looks like we need some more artboard space. There we go. Move it all over.
And for someone in the chat room, what are you grabbing when you want to change the artboard space, please?
Just grab the artboard tool right above the hand tool.
Great.
And you can see the dotted line going all the way around your page, and I just grab any place. It doesn't have to be on the pull handles, by the way. You can just click and drag anywhere on the artboard space, switch back to any tool, and your artboard space goes right back to normal.
Do you ever find the need for multiple artboards? That question came up earlier.
You can, and how you do that, yeah, there we go. So I can just take another artboard here and I can just drag and draw another artboard right there. I don't see the need for another artboard because when I print, I can print one artboard or another. And you can see how I do this, that I'm just going through and working through this whole thing. I just keep making it bigger, you know? 6 artboards as opposed to 1 huge artboard, you know? I'm not going to try to, you know, walk through a door with this artboard, so it doesn't really matter how big it is. Let's just make it really big. Okay. So I'm loving this. I just think this is absolutely awesome. I do kind of like the people, but I like the cuteness of this little cart thing right here. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to get rid of the people here, and I'm going to try a little cart thing and see how that's going to work. It's going to make everything a lot taller, and I'm just going to scale this whole thing down like so. Of course, I didn't have my scale, the line weight down, and that went ahead and kept the line weight the same on my stroke. So now I've got to go in and I have to edit that separately so that I've got that. Okay, so family of 3, can group that. You know, that could be fun too. A little bit busier, but you know, don't know if that's going to work, but what the heck, we tried it anyway. Okay, family of 4, we could do the 4 carts. I don't know if it's going to work. I kind of like this a little bit better, but I do like the cart thing too. So maybe that becomes part of my money thing. So let's try it. So I tell my students all the time, they're like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? It's like, I don't know. You haven't done it yet. What do you think it's a great idea? It's like, try it. You tell me it's a great idea. You'll know if it's good or not. Yeah, but I just don't know where to start. You start by doing it. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab the person out of the cart because I think we're going to use that for the little tippy cart. I'm going to drag my little dollar sign over here because maybe this could be above the cart. Ooh, I'm starting to get an idea here, folks. This will be the first, last, and only idea. Take my eyedropper tool, grab the fill for my dollar sign right there, and now I've got my little dollar sign, and this could be my cost of groceries, kind of as a header or something that I'm going to use for my infographic here. And I kind of want to figure out how I'm going to show the difference in prices here, because we want to explain it out here, but I also want to know, because, you know, it's like $500, $600, $700, $900 for this, and I want to show the difference in price as you go for a family of 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, yeah, it's kind of cliche to just double, triple, quadruple the dollar signs here to show more of it. I'd like to show something as the family grows to do that. And there's a lot of different ways. I just don't know how we're going to do that. I mean, we could do little ribbons, stair-step ribbons. We could do concentric circles. We can do lines, all that other stuff. I'm not quite sure. But at least we went ahead and we started to figure this out. And now we're starting to get a little tasty nugget morsel of goodness. I think with this, I'm going to go through here and I'm going to make this 5 right here so I can get all this information in. And 5 is going to be 789.13. So 789.13 right there. Okay, that can be kerned out just a slight bit. Oh no, that just needs to be made a little bit bigger. And then of course my family of 6, not in the correct order. That's going to be the grocery bill of what, $959.86. Okay. All right, that takes up a lot of space. Option left arrow will go ahead and kern that stuff in a bit for me. And I may have to reduce that down as well because it takes up a lot of space. Okay. Well, it's starting to look pretty good, but a really great infographic to go ahead and call that stuff out. You know, we've got that, we've got the type, we've got the visual representation, but I would really like to show the difference between the prices of 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we could do that by using bars, you know, and show the different levels and just put the number of family members in here. So again, enough to talking about it. Let's try it. Okay. So I'm just going to draw a vertical bar here. And how big of a bar should I draw for $511? Remember what I said, folks? I'm going to go and I'm going to say, okay, how tall is this bar going to be? So I'm going to say 511 millimeters. Oh, that's huge. Not a problem. So I'm going to say 1 inch, or say ½ inch, and 511 millimeters. Each millimeter is going to be $1. Okay? So there's that one. Really tall bar. Don't care. I'm going to draw my next tall bar because I'm going to click here, and this is going to be 639 millimeters. And the next one's going to be 789 millimeters. You'll see what I'm doing very quickly. And then the last one's going to be 959 millimeters. And then take everything, I line it all to their bottoms right there, boom. And now I have my distribution of size, okay? So there's the difference in the size between money spent. The reality of it is that all the rest of this stuff, you know, doesn't matter. So I'm just going to take all of these and I just compress them all together, like so, because they're all going to be equally distributed, right? So now if I wanted to do some type of chart, guess what I've got? I've got the perfect representation of height or distance for the family of 3, 4, 5, and 6 based on the difference between this. Whatever this value is, then I've got all of these. And that's how I go ahead and do my scientific mapping. Yes, it's that difficult, okay? No calculation, because if you were going to take these numbers, this would be the ratio. No, they don't need to be that tall. You know, I could do them so they're nice little stubby ones. It's just I want to show the difference in between here. And what may be fun with this is to actually take these, I'm going to rotate these around like this, and this is like super, super boring to do a chart like this on this. So we got to have some fun with how this stuff is actually going to work, okay? So what kind of fun thing can we do, like on a shopping cart or something that can be fun, that's going to be able to represent this data with the differences between the money? Yeah, you know, the money's here, and this is the difference when you have a family of 3, 4, 5, and 6. But clearly there's got to be something that's going to be fun, shopping cart-wise or shopping-wise, that you can put in here that says, hey, you know, this is really awesome fun. I like the flat two-dimensional style here, so I kind of want to keep this as a two-dimensional style. It would be great to go ahead and, you know, do dimensions coming off here, you know, at an angle, and then doing kind of like a ribbon here. I just don't know if that's going to be the most interesting way to do something. So, you know, there we have it. We could also do a scatter graph with the size of circles, you know, concentric circles as well. But I'm going to save that for the butter right there, okay? And because it's actual dollar amounts here, I don't want to use a pie chart because that's going to be like dollars completely spent here. So we're going to have to put some thought into that to figure out what we're going to do to represent something when we're comparing multiple items here. You know, shopping bags are okay, but, you know, I don't want to stack shopping bags on top of each other. I want to do something much more iconic, but something a lot more cool to show. So think about that, folks, while we are at lunch, because you're going to give us input and I'm going to build it. But right now, I think we're starting to get a lot of good information. I don't even have an outline for it yet, but I certainly, you know, have got the kind of the storylines and the characters starting to come together. I just don't know what the book is going to look like.